The 19-year-old alien princess humiliated the human, so he turned and departed. Wit Part 1. The public insult. Alex Carter sat quietly in the grand hall of the Interstellar Academy. The room was filled with bright lights, high ceilings, and windows that showed the endless stars outside. Hundreds of students, teachers, and nobles from many different worlds were gathered for the ceremonial welcome of new exchange students. Alex, a human from Earth, felt small and out of place. His dark hair was neatly combed, and he wore the simple uniform of the academy. Compared to the colorful robes and advanced gadgets of alien students, he looked plain. He kept his eyes on the floor as he walked among the groups of chattering aliens. Most of them had strange skin colors, unusual shapes, and devices that hovered around them. Alex had seen many images of alien species before, but seeing them in real life was different. He felt nervous, but he told himself to stay calm. He was here to learn, not to compete. At the center of the hall, on a raised platform, stood Lyra, the 19-year-old alien princess. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes glowed faintly like small stars. Her hair floated slightly in the air, and her robes shimmered with energy. She was the center of attention, as always. When she spoke, everyone listened. Today, she looked at Alex with a cold smile. She liked to tease newcomers, especially humans, because many aliens believe humans were weak. "So, this is the human," Lyra said, her voice echoing in the hall. "You are smaller than I imagined. Tell me, do humans always look so fragile?" She laughed lightly, but her words carried sharpness. The audience turned to look at Alex. Some aliens whispered and giggled, waiting for him to respond. Alex felt the weight of the room on his shoulders. He could feel his ears heat up, and he wanted to shrink back. But he had promised himself he would not lose his dignity. He looked at Lyra calmly and bowed his head politely. "Thank you, princess," he said quietly. He did not argue, yell, or beg. He did not try to make a joke or defend himself. He just stood there, quiet and composed. The hall fell silent. Lyra blinked. No one had dared to respond like that before. Most humans she had met had either shouted, cried, or begged for forgiveness. Alex's calmness puzzled her. She felt a twinge of irritation. How could someone be so unaffected by her words? "Are you always this quiet?" she asked, leaning slightly forward. Her glowing eyes scanned him as if trying to find a weakness. "Or are you too afraid to speak?" Alex did not answer. He only bowed again slightly and stepped back. Whispers spread across the hall. Students like Emma Brooks, a young human girl studying engineering, and John Miller, a human strategist, exchanged looks. Some were impressed, others worried. He didn't even argue, Emma whispered. He just left. Alex turned and walked toward the exit of the hall. Each step was calm, measured. He did not rush, but he did not hesitate either. The eyes of dozens of nobles, instructors, and alien students followed him. Murmurs ran through the crowd. Lyra's face changed slightly. She had expected him to react with embarrassment or anger. She had wanted to see him bow and apologize, or at least flinch. Instead, he simply walked away, carrying himself with dignity. For the first time, she felt a strange emotion she could not name. The hall remained tense even after Alex disappeared through the doors. Some aliens muttered about how humans were weak, but others were silent, unsure of what to say. Lyra stood on the platform, her expression unreadable, her lips pressed together. She had expected to feel triumphant, but now she felt unsettled. After the ceremony, instructors discussed the event quietly. "He did not resign or complain," one said. "He has more strength than most humans we have seen." Lyra listened to the words but refused to show it. Pride still burned in her chest. She would not admit defeat. She would not let anyone see that a human could affect her in this way. Yet, inside, she could not stop thinking about his calm demeanor. How had he ignored her insult so completely? How had he walked away without begging for mercy or showing fear? Alex returned to his simple quarters on the edge of the academy complex. The room was small and sparsely furnished, but it was enough. He sat on the bed and closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered the laughter in the hall, the sharpness of Lyra's words, and the surprise on her face when he had not reacted. He had chosen to leave the hall because staying would have meant losing himself. Humans, he thought, do not need to shout or prove themselves in front of everyone. Respect is earned by actions, not by words. And sometimes, walking away is the most powerful action of all. Later, in the academy library, other students began to talk about Alex's calmness. Aliens who had witnessed the event debated quietly. Is it true that humans grow stronger when ignored? One whispered. He did not beg, yet he left with dignity, said another. Even some human students began to admire Alex. He handled it well, Emma Brooks said. I don't know if I could have stayed so calm. John Miller nodded. Humans have a way of showing strength quietly. Maybe we have underestimated them. As the day ended, Alex walked along the observation deck of the academy. The stars stretched endlessly in every direction. He felt small in the vast galaxy, but he also felt free. He had not let pride, insult, or fear control him. He had made his choice. Lyra, in her private chamber, stared at her reflection in a shimmering panel. The memory of Alex's calm walk haunted her. She had expected to feel powerful, but, instead, she felt unsure. For the first time, she wondered, could a human actually be stronger than she imagined? The first part of the story ends here with tension between the human and the alien princess. Alex's quiet strength and refusal to react to humiliation set the stage for future events. The academy, the students, and the princess are all affected by his simple act of walking away. And the story hints that humans may have qualities the galaxy has overlooked. Part 2. The human who walked away after the ceremony. The story of Alex Carter's calm walk spread quickly across the academy. Students whispered in corridors, teachers discussed him quietly, and even some nobles spoke of the human who refused to react to insult. Lyra, the alien princess, tried to dismiss it, telling herself that he was just a weak human who would fade into obscurity. But, deep inside, she could not forget the way he had held himself. Rumors began to swirl. Some believed Alex had quit the academy in shame. Others thought he had returned to Earth in humiliation. Lyra smiled to herself when she heard these stories. So, he ran away after all, she said quietly to one of her advisors. But she could not shake a feeling of unease. Something about his calm demeanor did not fit the image of a weak human. In truth, Alex had not resigned. After the ceremony, he had requested a transfer to a remote human research fleet operating far beyond the known galaxy. It was a fleet dedicated to exploring uncharted systems, developing new technologies, and training humans to survive in the harshest conditions. The fleet's base was simple, not as impressive as the academy, but it was functional and efficient. Alex arrived at the fleet quietly. The commander, a stern but fair woman named Claire Williams, greeted him. We heard about your performance at the academy, she said. Humans don't often get insulted by nobles and walk away calmly. We could use your discipline here. Alex nodded. I want to learn and contribute, he said simply. He did not speak of the humiliation he endured or his feelings toward the princess. For him, actions mattered more than words. The fleet was challenging. The humans trained in extreme conditions, from asteroid fields to harsh planetary surfaces. Each day tested endurance, patience, and quick thinking. Alex adapted quickly, not because he wanted attention, but because he wanted to grow stronger. Unlike the academy, here success was measured in results, not applause. Back at the academy, Lyra continued to hear stories about the human. Emma Brooks, a young human student, and John Miller, another student, often spoke quietly about him. He didn't argue, didn't beg, Emma said. He just left. But I think he will come back stronger than anyone expects, John nodded. Humans often grow when ignored. I've read about it in our history books. They survive and adapt because they have to. Maybe the princess underestimated him. Lyra listened to these conversations, pretending not to care. Yet she could not stop thinking about Alex. Every detail came back to her. The calm bow, the quiet steps, the steady eyes. She felt a strange mix of irritation and curiosity. How could a human, so young and inexperienced compared to alien nobles, have such self-control? Meanwhile, Alex's life in the human fleet continued. He learned to operate ships, analyze alien technology, and lead small teams on dangerous missions. He grew stronger physically and mentally, but he also remained humble. He never boasted of his skills or demanded recognition. His quiet confidence earned him respect from the fleet officers and the crew. One day, during a simulation exercise in a dense asteroid field, Alex's team faced a complex problem. A small fleet of drones, designed to simulate alien attack patterns, was approaching. Other humans panicked, but Alex stayed calm. He observed the movements, calculated the paths, and gave precise instructions. "Shift the drone's flight paths by 3 degrees, he said calmly. "Increase our shields by 5%, and maintain this vector." His team followed his orders exactly. The exercise ended successfully, with 0 casualties. The commander, Claire Williams, smiled. "You handled that well, Alex." Humans often show their true strength when they are not pressured by nobles or politics. As weeks passed, the reputation of the human fleet grew. It became known for its resilience and clever strategies. Word slowly reached the academy. Aliens who had mocked humans began to notice their achievements. Lyra heard reports of the fleet solving problems that advanced alien fleets could not. She could no longer dismiss humans as weak. The princess felt conflicted. She wanted to maintain her pride, but she could not ignore the facts. Alex, the human who had humiliated her by walking away, had chosen a path that allowed him to grow beyond her reach. Every new report about the fleet reminded her of her mistake. One evening, Lyra walked through the gardens of the academy, thinking about Alex. The stars above mirrored the calmness of his steps. She recalled how she had expected to see fear, anger, or desperation in his eyes, but she had seen none. He had left, yes, but he had left with dignity, not shame. "He is different," she whispered to herself. "Humans are different from what I imagined." Alex, far away in the fleet, continued his work quietly. He did not think about revenge or showing superiority. He focused on learning, training, and helping his team. He knew that someday, humans would be recognized for their true abilities, and he wanted to be ready when that day came. One day, a young human engineer named Mia Davis approached Alex. "Do you ever wonder what the princess thinks about you?" she asked lightly. Alex shook his head. "I do not need her approval. Respect is earned, not given. If she changes her mind later, that is her choice. I am responsible for my own actions." Mia smiled. Humans really are strange. They grow stronger quietly, without needing to prove themselves to anyone. Alex nodded. That was exactly what he wanted. He wanted humans to be recognized for their endurance, intelligence, and patience. He wanted them to show the galaxy that being quiet and dignified was not weakness. Back at the academy, Lyra tried to maintain her composure. She continued her lessons, attended formal events, and smiled when others praised her for her intelligence and leadership. But every time she heard the story of Alex Carter, she felt a twinge of doubt. Every time someone mentioned the achievements of the human fleet, her pride faltered slightly. The academy began to notice a change. Students whispered that Lyra seemed less confident when discussing humans. Alien instructors observed that her focus was divided. The princess who once mocked humans easily now found herself thinking about one quiet human who refused to fight for approval. This part of the story shows the contrast between alien arrogance and human resilience. While Lyra relies on pride, show, and words to assert power, Alex relies on calmness, discipline, and silent growth. The human who walked away begins to demonstrate true strength, far from the eyes of those who insulted him. As months passed, both sides prepared for challenges the galaxy had yet to reveal. Alex and the fleet continued to train, learn, and plan, while Lyra in the academy began to wonder if she had underestimated humans completely. The stage was set for a confrontation not of anger, but of quiet strength, endurance, and intelligence. Alex's journey in Part 2 highlights a key theme. Humans grow when ignored, not humiliated. Their true power lies in discipline, patience, and actions, not words or appearances. Lyra's pride begins to face its first real test, and the galaxy starts to see that humans may be far stronger than anyone expected. To Part 3. The return of humanity. Months passed, and the Academy continued its usual rhythm. Aliens practiced politics, studied technology, and competed to show their skills. Lyra, the 19-year-old alien princess, maintained her pride and grace. Yet, the memory of Alex Carter, the quiet human who had walked away, lingered in her mind. She tried to ignore it, telling herself that humans were still weak. But the galaxy was about to show her that strength came in many forms. Far beyond the academy, in the remote human fleet, Alex had grown significantly. He had learned advanced navigation, alien technologies, and tactical strategies. He had trained with hundreds of humans under harsh conditions, from asteroid storms to low-gravity planets. Every mission tested patience, endurance, and intelligence. Alex's quiet determination earned him respect from everyone in the fleet, including Commander Claire Williams. Humans survive because they think, adapt, and endure, Claire often said. And Alex exemplifies that. Then, without warning, a dangerous alien force appeared near the Academy's system. Enormous ships, bristling with weapons, moved into known space. These invaders were ruthless, attacking without warning and destroying anything in their path. The Academy's defense fleets mobilized immediately, but even their most advanced ships struggled to respond. Alien generals shouted orders, yet confusion and fear spread quickly. Back at the human fleet, news of the attack reached them through long-range communication. The humans were far from the conflict, but they listened carefully. Alex studied the information calmly, analyzing ship movements, weapon patterns, and enemy behavior. While the alien fleets panicked, Alex saw opportunities. He began drafting strategies that relied not on brute force, but on intelligence, coordination, and patience. "We will need to move fast, but carefully," Alex said to his team. "We cannot match them in firepower. We can match them in tactics and planning." The human officers nodded. They trusted him not because he was loud or commanding, but because he stayed calm under pressure. Their discipline and willingness to follow instructions were strengths that other fleets underestimated. Within days, human ships approached the contested systems. The alien fleets watched in surprise as the human formations moved with unusual precision. They did not attack immediately. Instead, they positioned themselves strategically, predicting enemy movements and avoiding traps. Alien commanders frowned, confused by the humans' patience. At the Academy, Lyra observed the reports with growing alarm. "Humans cannot be that effective," she said to her advisors. "They are simple, fragile creatures. How can they resist our fleets?" Her advisors exchanged uneasy looks. "Princess, perhaps you underestimated them," one said cautiously. Lyra's pride burned at the suggestion. She refused to accept it, yet she could not ignore the facts. The humans were performing tactics that even the most advanced alien fleets struggled to counter. Every small victory they achieved was quiet, precise, and disciplined. Alex led several small teams on critical missions. One operation involved intercepting an enemy supply convoy in an asteroid field. While alien fleets relied on overwhelming firepower, Alex's team used careful calculations to disable the convoy with minimal risk. He guided his pilots with calm instructions, adjusting for unexpected changes in the environment. "Shift your trajectory by 2 degrees, Alex said. "Wait for my signal, then fire." Patience is the key. His team executed the plan perfectly. The convoy was disabled, and no human ship was lost. Commander Claire smiled at the result. "This is what humans do best," she said. "We survive by thinking, not by rushing." As news spread, the Academy received long-range reports. Students and instructors watched alien screens, astonished at human effectiveness. Lyra felt a mix of confusion, anger, and fascination. Her memories of humiliating Alex resurfaced. The quiet human who had walked away months ago was now leading efforts that outsmarted even the most advanced alien commanders. One evening, during a calm pause in the battle, Lyra confronted her advisors. "Explain this to me," she said. "How can humans, so weak in appearance, perform so well in strategy and coordination?" Her advisor, a wise elder named Torin, replied gently. "Princess, humans have endurance, patience, and adaptability. They do not always show their strength openly, but, when tested, they reveal it fully." Perhaps Alex Carter's calmness was the beginning of this display. Lyra looked away, refusing to admit her mistake. But, inside, she could not stop thinking about him. The human who had refused to react to humiliation had chosen his own path, one that allowed him to grow beyond her reach. Meanwhile, Alex coordinated a critical strike against the enemy's main fleet. His calculations anticipated multiple moves ahead, considering resources, environmental hazards, and enemy psychology. While alien commanders reacted hastily, Alex remained calm. His decisions were deliberate, precise, and effective. The enemy, confused by human tactics, faltered repeatedly. Back at the academy, the students could not believe what they saw. Human ships, small and simple compared to the massive alien warships, performed maneuvers that alien fleets failed to predict. Whispers spread among the students. They said humans were weak, one said. Look at them now. Emma Brooks, who had been quietly observing, turned to John Miller. I think the human who walked away wasn't weak at all. He was preparing for this moment. John nodded. Humans grow quietly. They endure, learn, and wait. When the moment comes, they act with strength no one expected. Lyra, watching in her chamber, clenched her hands. She had expected humans to be weak, to beg, to fail. Instead, they had grown stronger when ignored, showing resilience and intelligence. Every action Alex took reminded her of the calm dignity he displayed in the Grand Hall months ago. One day, a message arrived at the academy from the human fleet. It was brief, but formal. We offer terms of peace and cooperation, it said. Humans do not seek glory, only fairness and survival. Alex Carter, human officer, speaks on behalf of our fleet. The academy officials were stunned. Human humility combined with effectiveness made them reconsider long-held beliefs. Even alien nobles, who once laughed at humans, now hesitated to dismiss them. Lyra felt a sting of pride, realizing she had misjudged an entire species. Alex's calm demeanor remained unchanged. He did not gloat or seek recognition. He simply continued to direct his teams, ensuring safety, success, and efficiency. His quiet strength inspired others, both humans and aliens alike. As the conflict subsided, the humans had gained respect across multiple systems. The alien fleets, once dismissive, began to study human tactics carefully. Lyra could not deny it any longer. Humans were powerful, not through raw force, but through discipline, intelligence, and patience. The human who had walked away months ago had grown into a figure that changed perceptions across the galaxy. The story of Part 3 highlights the difference between alien pride and human resilience. While aliens rely on appearances, numbers, and immediate reaction, humans rely on quiet growth, careful planning, and calm action. Alex Carter, once humiliated, had used his experience to prepare humans for challenges that no one had foreseen. Lyra, though still proud, began to feel a grudging respect. The human who had walked away was not gone from her thoughts. She realized that humiliation did not destroy humans. Instead, it often made them stronger. The galaxy would remember this lesson, and the young princess could not forget the quiet human who had taught it through action. As the stars stretched endlessly outside the academy windows, Alex's presence loomed in the minds of many. Not as a loud hero, not as a brash commander, but as a calm, quiet, and capable human who had shown the galaxy that strength could come from patience, dignity, and intelligence. The stage was now set for the next encounter. Lyra would meet Alex again, but this time, she would not be mocking him. She would be facing the truth of human strength, prepared by experience, discipline, and quiet determination. Part 4. The princess learns the truth the galaxy had begun to change. Humans, once dismissed as weak and fragile, were now respected across multiple star systems. Their fleets, though smaller and simpler than the advanced alien ships, were highly disciplined and intelligent. Every move they made was precise, and every decision reflected patience, planning, and endurance. Alex Carter had become the symbol of this quiet strength, though he never sought glory. Back at the academy, Lyra, the alien princess, could not ignore the humans any longer. She watched reports of their successes with growing unease. Fleets she had once considered inferior now outsmarted and outmaneuvered her people. Every victory, small or large, reminded her of the calm human who had walked away months ago. She could not forget him. I need to understand, Lyra said one morning to her advisor Torin. How can humans, so small and simple, accomplish what we cannot? How can one human change the perception of an entire species? Torin nodded thoughtfully. Princess, humans have endurance, patience, and intelligence. They grow stronger when ignored or underestimated. Alex Carter's calmness in the face of insult was the beginning of this. He chose his own path, and it allowed him to prepare humans for challenges others never expected. Lyra frowned, still clinging to her pride. She did not want to admit she had underestimated a human. Yet deep down, she knew Torin spoke the truth. Her previous actions, mocking Alex in public, had not defeated him. Instead, they had pushed him to prove his worth in ways she had never imagined. A formal message arrived at the academy, requesting a meeting. It was from Alex Carter. Lyra's advisors hesitated, unsure if it was wise to meet the human, but Lyra insisted. She wanted to see him herself, not hear about him from others. She wanted to measure his strength with her own eyes. The meeting was arranged on neutral ground, a quiet space station far from the front lines. Alex arrived in simple uniform, unarmed and composed. He bowed politely, but did not speak until spoken to. His calmness reminded Lyra of that day in the Grand Hall when he had walked away. Princess Lyra, Alex said quietly. Thank you for agreeing to meet. Lyra studied him carefully. She could see the confidence in his posture, the intelligence in his eyes. She had expected arrogance, but there was none. He did not gloat. He did not challenge her pride. He simply existed, calm and dignified. Alex Carter, she said, her voice steady but with a hint of curiosity. Humans have performed impressively. Your fleet has surpassed many expectations. Alex nodded. Humans survive by learning, adapting, and enduring. We do not always show our strength openly, but when necessary, we act decisively. Lyra struggled to maintain her pride. I humiliated you at the academy. I mocked your species. Yet you grew stronger instead of reacting with anger. Alex looked at her calmly. When you insulted me, I had a choice. I could have argued, begged, or reacted with anger. Instead, I chose to leave. Humans do not need to fight for respect when it is not earned. My actions were for my growth, not to prove anything to you. Lyra felt a sting in her chest. She had expected revenge, regret, or humiliation from him. She had expected weakness. Instead, she saw strength, patience, and dignity. For the first time, she realized that her pride had underestimated the human capacity for resilience. So, you were never defeated, she whispered. You turned it into strength, Alex nodded. Strength comes from patience and discipline, not from immediate reaction. Humans grow when pushed, ignored, or challenged. Your words did not weaken me. They only reminded me to focus on my own path. The princess sat quietly, trying to understand. Her advisors had warned her about human resilience, but experiencing it firsthand was different. Every word Alex spoke carried truth, calmness, and quiet confidence. She could not argue with it. I see now, Lyra said slowly. Humans are not weak. You are strong in ways we did not expect. Alex's eyes softened slightly. Princess, this is not about proving superiority. It is about understanding and cooperation. Humans respect those who act with dignity, not just power. The galaxy has room for all of us if we choose to work together. Lyra nodded, humbled. She had always valued pride and appearances, but she now understood that true strength often comes quietly, without boast or show. Alex had taught her a lesson without raising his voice or seeking recognition. After the meeting, Lyra spoke to her advisors. I underestimated humans. Their strength is in patience, endurance, and intelligence. Alex Carter exemplifies these qualities. We must reconsider how we view them in the galaxy. Torin smiled. Princess, understanding is the first step toward true respect. Alex has shown not only the strength of humans, but also the value of humility and dignity. Lyra reflected on her own actions at the academy. Mocking a human, expecting fear or humiliation, had not brought her satisfaction. Instead, it had created an opportunity for Alex to grow stronger while she clung to pride. She realized that respect must be earned, not demanded. In the following weeks, Lyra observed humans more closely. She saw their discipline in training, their intelligence in planning, and their patience in adversity. She noted how Alex led without shouting, how his calmness inspired others, and how humans thrived under challenges that would defeat many aliens. One day, Lyra met Alex again in a council chamber where representatives of multiple species gathered. She noticed how aliens who once mocked humans now watched them carefully. Some whispered, admiring human tactics and intelligence. Lyra felt a quiet pride, not in herself, but in her recognition of human strength. "Princess Lyra," Alex said politely, "the galaxy respects humans not because we seek recognition, but because we act with dignity and patience. We grow stronger quietly, and we act when necessary." Lyra nodded. "I understand. Your actions speak louder than any insult or boast. Humans show strength in ways we often overlook." The meeting ended without conflict. Alex returned to his fleet, calm and composed, while Lyra reflected on the lessons she had learned. Pride, arrogance, and appearances could mislead even the most confident. True strength, she realized, came from patience, discipline, and quiet growth. Later, as she walked through the gardens of the academy, she remembered the day she had humiliated Alex in front of the Grand Hall. She had expected fear or shame. Instead, she had seen calm dignity. She had forced him to turn away, and in doing so, she had unwittingly allowed him to grow into the strength she now respected. "Perhaps I should have learned this sooner," she whispered to herself. "But now I see the truth." Lyra began to act differently. She treated humans with respect, listened carefully to their ideas, and observed their actions before making judgments. The galaxy, she realized, had underestimated humans, but she would not. The human who had walked away had taught her a lesson she would not forget. Strength does not always shout. It often grows quietly, and it cannot be measured by appearances alone. Alex, meanwhile, continued his work with the human fleet. He focused on preparation, learning, and strategy. He did not seek praise or recognition, but his actions continued to inspire others. Humans who followed him grew stronger, disciplined, and confident. The galaxy began to recognize that the species it had once dismissed was capable of great endurance, intelligence, and quiet heroism. The stage was now set for the final understanding between Alex and Lyra. One had taught the other the value of dignity, patience, and true strength. The galaxy had changed, perceptions had shifted, and the lessons of quiet power were now clear. Humans had returned not with anger or pride, but with calm, measured strength that no one could ignore. Part 4 closes with Lyra's realization. Human strength is not in appearances, power, or words, but in patience, endurance, and quiet growth. Alex Carter, once humiliated, had become the example of this strength. Their next encounters would be guided by respect, understanding, and the knowledge that dignity often outweighs insult in shaping true power. Part 5. Strength without words. The galaxy had changed. Humans, once dismissed as fragile and weak, were now respected across multiple star systems. Their fleets had proven that discipline, patience, and intelligence could overcome raw power. Alex Carter had become the quiet symbol of this strength, though he never sought recognition. He focused on learning, leading, and helping others grow. Back at the academy, Lyra, the alien princess, had changed as well. She no longer mocked humans, no longer assumed weakness, and no longer relied solely on appearances to judge others. The experience with Alex had taught her humility, patience, and respect. She observed humans carefully now, noting their intelligence, coordination, and quiet confidence. She had learned that strength often came from discipline and endurance rather than show or words. A formal council was called to discuss new alliances and peace treaties. Representatives from multiple species gathered to share reports and plans. Alex attended as a human officer, respected but unassuming. He did not seek attention. Lyra attended as the alien princess, still proud but wiser, carrying a new understanding of humans. The council began with presentations from various species. Aliens spoke loudly, using displays of power and elaborate rhetoric. They tried to impress the audience, claiming strength and dominance. Alex listened calmly, taking notes, observing weaknesses and patterns. He did not interrupt or boast. Humans were known for their quiet effectiveness, not theatrics, and Alex embodied this principle perfectly. When it was time for the human report, Alex stood and spoke simply. Our fleet has acted to protect human and allied systems. We do not seek glory or dominance. Our goal is to maintain stability and support cooperation. Humans act with discipline, endurance, and intelligence. These are our strengths. The room was silent. Aliens who had expected arrogance or showmanship were surprised by the simplicity and calm of his words. Humans spoke clearly, without need for display, but the meaning was clear. Humans were capable, resilient, and disciplined. Lyra watched him closely, seeing the same calm confidence she had observed months ago. After the report, the council adjourned. Lyra approached Alex privately in a quiet chamber. Her expression was calm, but serious. "Alex Carter," she said, "I owe you an apology. I humiliated you months ago, expecting fear or weakness. Instead, you walked away, and you have grown stronger than I imagined. Humans are not weak. They are patient, disciplined, and intelligent. I was wrong to mock you." Alex bowed politely. "Princess Lyra, there is no need for apology. Your words gave me the choice to act in my own way. Humans grow stronger when challenged, and I chose to follow that path. We can move forward with respect and understanding." Lyra felt a sense of relief mixed with humility. She had learned a valuable lesson. Strength is not measured by words or appearances, but by actions, patience, and dignity. Alex had shown her this without anger or pride. He had only acted according to his principles, quietly and effectively. In the following weeks, humans continued to prove their capabilities. Fleets acted efficiently, colonies thrived under careful planning, and human intelligence helped resolve conflicts without unnecessary violence. Aliens who had once mocked them now observed closely, learning from human strategies and methods. The galaxy had begun to recognize that human strength came from unity, patience, and careful action. Alex, despite his accomplishments, remained humble. He did not seek awards, titles, or fame. Instead, he focused on exploration, learning, and preparing humans for future challenges. Commander Claire Williams often remarked, "He does not need recognition. His actions speak for themselves, and they inspire others more than any speech ever could." Lyra observed this quietly. She noticed how humans inspired each other, how discipline and calm leadership created confidence and effectiveness. She realized that the insult she had given Alex had not diminished him. Instead, it had allowed him to find his own path, grow stronger, and show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. One day, Lyra joined Alex on a joint mission to survey a new system for potential settlements. They worked together, exchanging ideas and learning from each other. Lyra saw firsthand the intelligence, patience, and problem-solving abilities of humans. She noted how Alex led with calm confidence, inspiring his team without shouting or demanding obedience. "Princess," Alex said during the mission, "humans do not need to prove themselves through anger or boastfulness. We grow quietly, and we act when necessary. That is our strength." Lyra nodded, understanding fully now. "I see it clearly," she said. "Strength is not in pride or words. It is in patience, endurance, and dignity. You have shown me that, Alex." Their mission was a success. The humans established new settlements, the systems were secured, and the cooperation between species improved. The galaxy had begun to see that humans were powerful not through force alone, but through intelligence, patience, and careful action. Alex had demonstrated that quiet strength could have a greater impact than any display of arrogance or pride. Back at the academy, students and instructors discussed the events. Humans were no longer mocked. Aliens studied their methods and learned to respect their abilities. Lyra's example as a leader who had learned from experience inspired others to reconsider their assumptions. Humility, patience, and careful observation became valued traits, thanks in part to Alex's calm influence. Alex, ever humble, continued his work. He trained humans, advised fleets, and explored new systems. He did not seek recognition, knowing that true strength lay in results, not applause. His calm, measured actions inspired humans and aliens alike. The galaxy had learned a powerful lesson. Dignity, patience, and quiet growth were more formidable than boastfulness, insult, or brute power. Lyra, now wiser, often reflected on the lessons she had learned from the human who had walked away. She had mocked him, expecting weakness, but his calm dignity had challenged her assumptions. She had learned to respect humans not because they sought praise, but because they earned it through action. In private moments, she smiled softly, recalling the day in the grand hall when Alex had bowed and walked away without anger. That moment, small and simple, had begun a chain of events that changed the perception of humans across the galaxy. It reminded her that strength is not always loud, and that patience, dignity, and endurance often carry greater power than words or appearances. As the story closed, Alex prepared for a new mission beyond known systems. He would continue exploring, learning, and helping humans grow stronger. Lyra returned to the academy with a new perspective, treating humans with respect and observing their actions carefully. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans, once dismissed as weak, had shown their quiet strength through patience, discipline, and intelligence. Alex Carter, who had been humiliated and walked away, had become the symbol of this strength. His calm, dignified actions proved that sometimes the most powerful force is not in words or appearances, but in quiet, steady, and patient growth. The final scene shows Alex standing on the observation deck of his ship, looking at the stars. He felt small in the vast galaxy, yet confident. He had not acted for glory or recognition. He had acted for growth, for discipline, and for the dignity of his people. Behind him, Lyra watched respectfully, no longer mocking, but learning from the human who had once walked away. The story closes with a lasting lesson. True strength is measured by patience, discipline, and quiet endurance. Humans do not need to shout to be powerful. Sometimes, walking away, choosing your own path, and growing quietly is the greatest strength of all. Alex Carter had shown the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated, and that dignity often outweighs insult in shaping true power.